Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Ja. Ah, geht's? So we are continuing. This is the last in the series of 11 or 12 talks about meditation on Krishna. There's a little bit too much echo. And yes. Bitte? Kannst du noch mal aus und auf anmachen? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Goranga bolite habe pulaka sharira. Okay. Yeah. This is the last in our session of discussions on meditation on the form of the Lord. And this yesterday we talked about meditation of the Gopis, young girls, how they see Krishna when Krishna is entering the forest of Vrindavan, going to be the cows, and how do they perceive him? There was the whole meditation on Krishna. Krishna also enhances this meditation by playing his flute. This was the yesterday. Today, we'll speak about the even more intense meditation. And this is how the Gopis meditated on Krishna when Krishna suddenly disappeared. This is described in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. And so what happened is Krishna and Gopis were sitting very happily on the bank of Yamuna, in the sand, and everything was very wonderful. They enjoyed very playfully their pastime. And then what Gopis thought, wow, we are the most fortunate women in this universe because Krishna is with us. And Krishna detected, according to Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, little pride. So then he suddenly disappeared. And this was a matter of a great distress for the Gopis. And this led to these certain events, particular, which we're going to speak today about how the intensely the Gopis meditated on Krishna. So this is the ultimate meditation on Krishna. So first of all, when Krishna disappeared, suddenly the Gopis felt great sorrow. First of all, they're very, very sorry. So when they start remembering Krishna left, and they will start remembering how Krishna was just here. They remember his movements, his smile, his glance, his talking to them. Everything was very, very enchanting. So they, because they looked around, where is Krishna? As soon as Krishna disappeared, they were looking around, where is Krishna? They looked all over in the area. They could not find him. So then their pain started increasing. And Acharyas are commenting that this meditation on Krishna, where Krishna was not present, develops in two technical terms. One is called Unmada, and one is called Sanchari Bhava. I will speak a little bit about this too. Sanchari Bhava is very interesting because I said Sanchari, the ultimate attraction to Krishna and deep love for Krishna is called Rati. And this Sanchari Bhava is explained, they're like waves. They're enhancing this body of love for Krishna. And there are 30 different types of Sanchari Bhava. Sanchari Bhava can be indifference, moroseness, meekness, feeling on one is in a faulty position, fatigue, madness, pride, doubt, shock, intense emotion, craziness, forgetfulness, disease, bewilderment, death, laziness, invalidity, shame, concealment, remembrance, argument, contemplation, attention, forbearance, jubilation, eagerness, violence, anger, jealousy, impudence, sleep, deep sleep, and awakening. All this is enhancing the actual love, what they feel for Krishna. And interestingly enough, they sometimes, not all of these sentiments manifest at once, but they sometimes manifest, several of them, creating contradiction. And Gopis felt this, at the moment, this unmada, madness. You are out of love for Krishna, you display mad behavior, which is not normal behavior. Madness means not normal. We have institutions, we keep mental people, crazy people, because they are not functioning normally. So the Gopis start acting in an abnormal way. Unmada, madness. And how did they do this? We'll describe. They start imitating Krishna. Because there was so much looking for Krishna, they did not know where to find him. They start imitating how Krishna was smiling, how Krishna spoke to them, how Krishna was holding them. And then one gopi said to another, I am Krishna. And the other said, I am Krishna. This is very different than, Mayavadi, they think they are Krishna, Tattvam Asi, I am that. Actually, this is out of, again, unmada, out of deep madness in love for Krishna. There's so much missing Krishna that they're seeing Krishna everywhere. There's this, in this love song, when somebody is in love with somebody, they walk on the street and they see only this person. In every person who comes, they see, oh, this is her or this is him. So this is just that, but not material, but the spiritual. The Gopis thought only on Krishna, they were thinking, I'm Krishna, I'm Krishna. So they start acting like Krishna. So the first action of Krishna entered the senses and the mind of Gopis. So they enter their minds, the Krishna's activities and Krishna's thinking enter the minds of the Gopis and their bodies, and Gopis' bodies enter the various actions of Krishna. And then these two mixed due to the unmada, and they're saying, I am Krishna. And said, at that time, none of the Gopis thought they are the Gopis in Vraja. Because they're so absorbed in Krishna, they thought actually they're Krishna themselves. This is like an amazing state of consciousness. So then they start walking around looking for Krishna. This Unmada subdued a little bit, Unmada was going for some time and Unmada goes away. This is interesting also, the emotions in Vrindavan, amongst the gopis and devotees, they fluctuate. Everything is unsteady. So this Unmada weakened a little bit. Then the gopis become somewhat stable, as the Acharya says, somewhat stable. They start searching for Krishna. And this is the very, very wonderful how gopis actually investigating to find Krishna. Because, everybody likes good creamy roman. Who has done it? This is called in America, who done it? Who done it novels. Meaning who did it. You're reading whole novel and the last page is revealed who has done it. And meanwhile, there's a whole investigation going on. So gopis are doing this investigation right now. Where is Krishna? So how do they do? They're simple village women. They're walking along the path and they ask trees. O Ashvata tree, O Plaksha, O Nyagroda, have you seen Krishna, the son of Nanda Maharaj? He has gone, stealing our minds with his loving smiles and glances. Can you tell us? Where is he? So these are the trees called Ashvata, Plaksha, and Nyagroda. And Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur says the reason why the gopis first address these trees is because in Vrindavan, these trees are the highest, the tallest. So the Gopis thought in their logic, these are the tallest trees and they must have seen Krishna, the tall trees. So they asked these trees. So naturally, there was no answer from the trees. So the Gopis thought, what is the use of these trees? They don't answer. He said, these unconscious entities have not replied to our questions. What do we need? What use is of these trees? Gopis in their madness condemning the trees they didn't answer. So then they left these tall trees, they went further. Then they said, O Kurabaka tree, O Ashoka, O Naga, Punaga, and Champaka is Balaram's younger brother, whose smile removes the audacity of all proud women, passed here. So now they went to the little smaller trees, because the taller trees did not answer. So they asked the shorter trees, did you see Krishna? And they thought these trees are better trees because they're pure hearts. The other trees, they have a hard heart, but these trees have a better heart, so they let ask them. And the reason why they have a better hearts is because the bees are gathering around these trees, so that means they are more giving. They're more open-hearted to give to others. So therefore, these trees must have much better hearts. So what happened? Did trees answer? No and yes. The wind blew. So wind was blowing the branches and Gopis understood. The tree says, no, we did not see Krishna. So was it really the tree's answer? No, this is a different question. But the Gopis, they saw it in this way. Then, Gopis, next they went to Tulsi. And they said, Tulsi, you are always at the feet of Govinda. Have you seen Krishna, who is encircled by the swarm of bees, as we said yesterday? He was always, because of the garland, beautiful garland, Vaijayanti, with beautiful flowers from the forest in Vrindavan. So the bees always attracted to this garland. So now the reason why they asked Tulasi is because they thought all these trees were male trees. They don't understand what does it mean to be pain when a woman is in love with a man. So let's ask the female plant. So they asked the Tulasi. So of course the Tulasi also did not reply. Then they asked a fragrant jasmine flower, Malati, Malika, Jati, Utica. They asked, these are the flowers now, they asking, did they see Krishna? So the Acharya says, the Gopis, seeing the jasmine vines humbly bowing down, assumed that these plants have seen Krishna, so they bow down when Krishna walked by. So this is they assumed. So you see how investigation is going on. And we saw also in the pastimes of Balaram, when Balaram and Krishna entering the forest, this is a chapter of Balaram and Krishna killing Dhenukasura and the other donkey demons. The introduction to this chapter is when Krishna and Balaram enter in the forest, and Krishna says, just see, dear brother, how all these trees are bowing down to you, because the trees were actually all the way to, because of the heavy fruits, all the way bowing down. So they also thought, the Gopis, all these plants, all these flowers, that Krishna has passed, so therefore they offer obeisances. So they asked them. So the answer was also silence. So the Gopis went further, and they started asking everybody. And they said that this first they asked this, most important trees, and then on the end they started asking anybody. O Chuta, O Priyala, O Panasa, O Kovidara, O Jambu, O Arka, O Bilva, O Bakula, O Namra, O Kadamba, and Nipa, and all you other plants and trees living on the banks of Yamuna. We Gopis have lost our minds, so please tell us, where's Krishna gone? So they don't care anymore. They just want to find Krishna. So this is interesting enough. So then Gopis changed the tactic because the creepers and trees did not answer. So then start asking some other question. Asking question, have you seen where has Krishna gone? Because they may not tell him, Krishna, did you see Krishna, but where has he gone? So they directed now their inquiry towards the proper path where Krishna is gone. So maybe he is gone there. So then, because they couldn't find it, then the Gopis were thinking, actually there's a one person who for sure knows where Krishna is. 100%. Who is this person? Oh, sorry? Mother Earth. Earth must know where Krishna is. Must know. Because Earth is holding Krishna all the time. You know, Krishna is walking on this earth all the time. So Earth must know where is Krishna. So then they ask, oh Mother Earth. But they were smart. You know, they did not ask about Krishna. They ask, what kind of austerity have you performed so you can have a Krishna stepping on you all the time? So we want to actually do the same austerities because we don't want to lose Krishna. This is the logic of the Gopis. He said, we see, because Krishna is stepping on you, all your bodily hairs has raised, as we say yesterday, that the rays on when devotees get in ecstasy, the hairs raise. And when the tree yesterday, because the tree was seeing Krishna, waiting for Krishna to come from the forest, was also had the leaves upraised, because in ecstasy, waiting for Krishna. The tree was stunned with the leaves waiting for Krishna to come. So the same way the Gopis asking Earth, you see, we can see that you're in ecstasy. This is very obvious. That your hair is standing on end. So what do you do, you know, to get so much favor from Krishna? So this is the question. Then the Gopis thought, oh friend, wife of the deer, you know, next, the does, they started asking animals. Has Lord Achyuta been here with his beloved? Because they saw, ultimately, this is later on, when Gopis saw footprints of Krishna. This is much later. In the beginning, they were just wandering in the forest. Later on, they saw the two footprints, Krishna's footprints and footprints of smaller footprints. So they assume this is one very special Gopi. We know, you know, from the Acharya commentaries that this is Radharani, but although Shukadeva Goswami did not mention her name. And sometimes you can see that the Gopis could have seen two footprints, one of Krishna and one of the smaller one, of Radharani. And then they saw only one footprint, but a little deeper, meaning Krishna was carrying Radharani. And then, again, they saw two footprints, and then these footprints of Krishna went towards the bushes and trees. And then they saw, again, the footprints of Krishna only front and a little deeper. That means that Krishna was standing on his toes, picking up the flowers for Radharani. This is all Gopis, all reading these footprints, and they figured out, you know, the whole story. And then after some time, they saw both footprints, and then suddenly only one footprint, the small footprint of Radharani, because Krishna has left her also. This is another subject. But just the Gopis were very investigative like this. They saw all this thing just by looking at the earth, you know. So they asked the deer, "Have you seen Krishna?" And then they ask, So then they asked, the gopis saw that the trees bent over with the bound fruits and flowers, offering obeisance to Krishna. The gopis supposed that Krishna must have recently passed away, since the trees are still standing down. You know, when we offer obeisance, it takes some time. We offer our prayers, Namo Vishnu Padaya, we are laying down for some time. Some devotees longer, some not. So the trees were still bowing down, that means that Krishna was just there. They immediately saw this. So what else saw it is saw the bees have given up the tulsi groves and have followed behind Krishna. Therefore we can understand that Krishna is hiding somewhere nearby. Because they saw, oh, the bees are not anymore by Tulasi, that means they're following Krishna. It must be very, very close. Let us find it. Let us find Krishna right now. And also, again, another investigation, they saw some plants, the flowers were picked with the fingers. Because, you know, when we pick flowers, you pick with fingers. And they just saw this. Krishna was here. It says, they saw that this plant was touched by the fingernails of Krishna. And he said, and also the proof is that these creepers, actually their hairs are standing on end. He said, seeing the symptoms, they cannot tell us a lie. We did not see Krishna. Because they saw the symptoms. And they said, you cannot lie to us that Krishna was not here. This is how the gopis logically thinking about this. And then gopis become again a little bit mad. There's going on a little bit madness, a little bit coming back, a little bit investigation. And the gopis now became mad again. And then they become fully absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And then, because they become more and more absorbed in grief, and they start imitating Krishna. But first they were saying, I'm Krishna. Now they start imitating Krishna, imitating the pastimes of Krishna. So they said, some of the gopis said, no, this is actually one gopi's suggestion. They said, let's imitate Krishna's pastimes. And you will get relief from your pain by imitating Krishna's pastimes. So this one gopi, smart gopi, suggested this. So one gopi took the form of Putana. You know, we heard the pastimes of Putana the other day. And pretended to suck the breast of another gopi. Another gopi cried in imitation, you know, oh child, leave me, leave me. Then another gopi laid on top of another gopi, and the other gopi kicked her, as the other gopi was Shakatasura, and the gopi kicked her. Which I thought this, you know, this Acharyas also explained, this is a very simple imitation, how gopis imitate. They didn't have a props, they didn't have a, you know, drama, costume or anything. But by this imitation, actually, they reenacted the pastimes of Krishna. We see this also in the pastimes of Lord Nityananda. When he was in Ekachakra, very young child, him and his boys, they imitated all the pastimes of Krishna. And their parents came and they said, you're very small boys, how do you know all these pastimes? You didn't read them. How do you know all these pastimes? And Lord Nityananda smiled and he said, these are all my pastimes, I know them all. So they were also imitating pastimes of Krishna without any props. But the bhava was there, the love described and the emotion to actually, while performing this pastime, intensify the love for Krishna. Jaya Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki Jaya. And this is actually the point. This is the point, you know, when we offer drama, when we do drama during the festivals, the drama should evoke emotions. Like, for example, Srila Prabhupada once, it was in New York in the late 70s, that devotees bought this huge building in the 55th Avenue, 11-story big building. And there's also another addition to it. And Prabhupada wanted in this smaller building to actually do the theater. So devotees were even thinking to make it like, because New York is famous as a theater town, Broadway. So devotees started doing various dramas based on Krishna's pastimes. And that was very successful. And Prabhupada says, yes, you can do this often. And you can do even Bhagavad Gita. He said, you don't need much to actually props and anything. So only 2 people can speak. Because you have dramas who actually monologue even. One person sits and speaks for half an hour, 1 hour, a theater. So he said, why not you can have 2 people discuss philosophical points in Bhagavad Gita. So meaning, these dramatic performances should invoke some kind of emotion, either philosophical or in this case, this bhava, emotion towards Krishna. In the Chaitanya Bhagavatam and Lord Chaitanya, they were playing the part of theater. Lord Chaitanya was acting as Lakshmi Devi. Lord Chaitanya was dressing as Lakshmi Devi. And Lord Chaitanya was so emotional that everybody started crying. They did not even know who he is in the beginning. Because the Lord was covered and he entered the stage. And everybody started crying just by seeing Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were like, in the beginning, devotees couldn't figure out what kind of acting, who is he in this part. but Lord Chaitanya was so emotional, they just started crying. And then later on, it came to be that he is Lakshmi, acting as Lakshmi Devi. So then the gopis acted like one like Putana, another like Shakadasura, and another gopi acted like Trinivarta. She took another gopi and dragged her supposedly high in the air. We also spoke about this yesterday. No, day before yesterday. Trinivarta. Pastime. So then another gopi was crawling on the ground. This was actually yesterday we spoke. Krishna was in Balaram were crawling in the mud. And they always make themselves dirty. And their parents, and the gopis, they enjoyed it greatly. And so much so that they even took the tail of the calves were dragging them around through the mud. This is such an amazing, wonderful pastime of Krishna. Then the 2 gopis stood like Krishna and Balaram. Sometimes, Balaram stands like this, resting on the shoulder of Krishna. Then they enacted the killing of Vatsasura and Bakasura. So then one of them would some of them would pretend to be cows, and one would play flute, and all the cows would come back. So all different pastimes of Krishna. One of the gopis says, walking along like this, like in a proud manner, I am Krishna, look at how I walk. Because imitating, as somebody says yesterday, when we imitate people, we tend to imitate this most, grotesque or whatever, exaggerated part of us. When somebody imitates, they exaggerate this particular part. So I guess Krishna was walking like this, and Gopi said, look at how I walk. I am Krishna. Just see how gracefully I move. Then another Gopi will say, don't feel about the rain. I will save you from the rain. So she took her chadar and lifted the chadar as a Govardhan hill to protect. So anyway, so they were doing all these wonderful things. And when they're performing these pastimes, one of the gopis saw the footprints, and they said, this must be Krishna right there. So they all ran there to see, and then as we said later on, as I said earlier, the Krishna was actually walking with Radharani, and even then he disappeared from her. So what happened later on when they found Radharani? So then with Radharani, together, they were searching for Krishna all over the forest. They were looking everywhere. So in the end, they ended up deep in the forest. And the dark is already setting. And you couldn't see anything anymore in the forest. So these gopis decided, this is dangerous, and we cannot see anymore where we're going. Let's leave the forest and go back. They decided to go back. So then the last verses in this chapter is that Gopi's mind is absorbed in thoughts of him. They conversed about him, acted out his pastimes, and felt themselves filled with his presence. So, meaning the Gopis' thoughts were full of Krishna, thinking of Krishna. They spoke only about Krishna, and they acted Krishna's pastimes. So, this is when devotees, or when actually one takes sannyas, 3 dandas we take in Vaishnava Sampradayas, we take 3 dandas. In Mayavadi Sampradayas, they take 1 danda, 1 stick. And this 1 stick is a sign of renunciation. But in Vaishnava Sampradaya, we take 3 sticks. The 3 sticks tied together, bamboo sticks, and they represent karmana, manasa, vacha. Meaning acting, as the gopis here, manasa, we always supposed to think of Krishna, and vacha, to speak only on Krishna. So this is sannyas supposed to be like this. Karmana, manasa, vacha. And gopis are here representing the perfect renunciation. Because renunciation does not mean that we need to eat dry bread smeared with ashes. There's one famous saint, which I will not mention his name. He ate ashen bread, dry bread with ashes on it, because he did not want to enjoy this material world. He wanted to renounce this material world. And also Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam describes so many different renunciations. Some in the mode of goodness, some in the mode of ignorance. Vrikasura. Vrika. So these are some ghastly renunciation he did. Very terrible. And but the renunciation of a devotee is actually, Prabhupada says once, renunciation means renouncing the dependence on the material existence. That's the renunciation. From today on, I don't depend on my material existence. I want to depend on Krishna only. And this is the symptom. Who is depending on Krishna? Karmana, our activities are all done for Krishna. Manasa, our mind is filled with Krishna, thoughts of Krishna. And vacha, our speech, we speak only about Krishna. So this is the gopis' state. And at the end, the gopis came again to the bank of Kalindi or Yamuna, meditating on Krishna and eagerly hoping that he would come. They sat down together and sing about him. So this is the gopis on the end. They did not know what to do. They sat together and just sang, had a kirtan, all night kirtan. So I think this is the very, very nice meditation, how the gopis were so absorbed in thoughts of Krishna. And this absorption became a little bit of a madness. They start asking trees, have you seen Krishna? They ask Mother Earth, have you seen Krishna? So, they ask Earth, what kind of austerities you have done so we can also do to achieve Krishna. Anyway, so this is what I all wanted to say today about the meditation of the gopis on Krishna. Hare Krishna. Can you turn it off? Okay. Any questions maybe? Any question connected to the all 12 days, whatever we have? It was 12 days, 12 times in these 6 days. Yes, Brian. Okay, please turn it on.
There was a question in the chat that we didn't read 1 day ago. I'm not sure if somebody asked it already. The question was, what do we do when our mind strays away from the thought of Krishna sometimes?
The question is, what do we do when sometimes our minds stray away from Krishna? Huh? This was the question one devotee asked Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada, sometimes when we are not thinking of Krishna, and Prabhupada says, no, you are never thinking of Krishna, but sometimes you are thinking of Krishna. So this is how, first of all, this is our attitude. Our attitude is, I never think of Krishna, so I should start thinking of Krishna. And when it happens, that our minds, like my mind wandered away right now by the hearing this wonderful sound of the bells. This is the material world. Material world offers all kinds of amazing things, and our minds dragged away. Like, for example, if somebody will enter this room right now, open the door, everybody will look at this person. Somehow mind is attracted by these distractions. So first of all, stay away from distractions. Meaning, stay away from this computer, stay away from the phone, and for beginning, that will be quite a big endeavor. Stay away from the phone. Like when devotees come to Mangal Arati with the phone at 4 o'clock in the morning, what kind of important phone calls you need to expect at 4:30 in the morning to bring your handy with you? Unless there's some extraordinary important, but usually there's not. We can chant, we need beads, and we can just chant on our beads. And later on, after the breakfast, our phones will still be in our room, believe it or not. Nobody will take them. This is it. Number one, stay away from distractions. And second of all, we spoke about meditation this whole days. And the point is to, if you remember, we spoke how Prabhupada says, when one sees the deity of the Lord, this is not different than seeing Lord in person. It's actually exactly the same. So therefore, the advantage of the yogis who can meditate on Krishna's form always is they don't need to go to the temple all the time. They can always think of Krishna. And those who don't have this power to think of Krishna all the time, they see Krishna when they come to the temple and they leave, they don't see Krishna anymore. So this is also the point, a second point. Is to actually be always in the presence of Krishna. In the presence of Krishna form in the temple, in the presence of Krishna, Krishna's words, in the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita. So the more we associate with Krishna, the less we'll have time for Maya. Krishna Surya Sama, Maya Haya Andakara, Yahan Krishna Taha Nahi, Mayara Adhikara. So Prabhupada used this quotation for his Back to Guardian magazine. Krishna is like a sun, Maya is like darkness. Whenever there is sun, there is no darkness. This is such a simple logic. So whenever there's Krishna, there is no Maya. So this is what we should do. And this sometimes we need to do mechanical things. Like it's not only everything esoteric. Meaning like this. If I see distracted by the phone, I restrict myself using the phone. I restrict myself reading whatever I'm reading on the computer. There's so many important things we need to read every time. Check it out in the morning. I happened to be born in the times when there was no computers, much less distraction. When I went to Vrindavan, even more primitive, no electricity most of the time, actually. There was no electricity at all in Vrindavan. They have some electricity, but always disappearing, Especially in the evening, 8 o'clock is this electricity off until morning, and you are just boiling hot, But we did not have, anything. I think I had one because I was a brahmachari, simple brahmachari, and I had one tape player with one tape, Srila Prabhupada's kirtan. And this kirtan what I had was like this, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Not even this Krishna meditation, Krishna, kirtan. Only this simple karatals, not even mridanga, karatals and Prabhupada, tsing, 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 tsing. And only thing, my entertainment was to read Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There was nothing else. There was no checking emails. There was no checking anything, news. What's the weather in Australia, Or there's a big tornado in Australia. Wow, you read about this, Nothing. Just Krishna, japa, Mangalarti, Guru Puja, service, and book. That was my life, And that was wonderful. So like this, we can create environment for ourselves that this is what I do, and this is how I want to serve Krishna. We cannot blame anybody except ourselves. There's so many external, it's not my fault. Yeah, I have a difficult situation. Everybody can actually create environment for himself or herself to be Krishna conscious. Everybody. You can, your room which you are using, you can just move it in, transform it into Krishna room. Paint it over, put pictures of Krishna only, and in this room when you enter, this is Krishna's room. Something like this. Any other? Yes.
So I got two questions. First, I want to do the big Q&A. So first of all, thank you for all the lectures. And then are we going to do the big Q&A in the evening?
So far I have not received any requests. Ananda Krishna gives lectures, so no.
Oh, okay. And second, when Varahadev was lifting up the earth from the ocean, was it only the earth part or whole Bhumandala?
It said earth, Prithvi. Prithvi is the Erde.
Nur die Erde.
This is what Prabhupada says, and this is what Prithvi. And therefore, by the touch of Varahadev, he touched the Prithvi, the child was born. So it's a Prithvi, the Erde. More?
Thank you. No.
Okay, so I thank you very much. This was a very nice meditation for all of us, for me too, actually. It is said that 3 people get benefited when there's a speaking of Krishna Katha. The speaker benefits the most. Hari Hari Bol. Then those who are listening attentively, they benefit also. And the third, those who are inattentively, those who are accidentally hearing. So, like trees, or bushes, they also get benefited. So everybody gets benefited by hearing Krishna Katha. And this was a nice meditation on meditation. So we can actually see how we can set our mind to think of Krishna. And imagine that one day there will be nothing else in our heads except Krishna. It's very difficult to imagine, because then we will lose ourselves. We will not be us anymore. I will not be me. I heard this one Bhakta told me. But if I become, he was already like 1 month or 2 months devotee. And he said, but if I get really serious, I will not be me anymore. I said, yes, you will not be you. Because being you is not good. Because being us is not good. This is Maya. Being Krishna's servant is the actual amazing thing. So we have opportunity to set our minds to Krishna. And so we should try to apply as much as possible and to meditate on the transcendental form of the Lord. Because at the time of our death, as Prabhupada says, there's so many birds flying together. Like we are all together in, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. We are flying. Oh, wonderful. Janmashtami, Chaturdashi, Nrsimhadev. But he said, in reality, everybody has to flap their own wing. We, each of us, have to flap our own wing. At the time of death, no other people can flap your wing. You have to actually be Krishna conscious. You have to think of Krishna. You have to meditate on the form of the Lord. Because ultimately, we do not know when will we die and how will we die. We all think I'm going to sit in bed and surrounded by loving devotees, putting Maha garland on me, dripping Charanamrita, and we are, Hare Krishna. Maybe not. Maybe we'll die in the hospital. Maybe we'll die in a car accident. We do not know. And therefore, this risky situation in the material world, we should always be ready for this very moment. So when anything comes, we just say, Hare Krishna. We know immediately, Hare Krishna. Automatic reaction. Not that we die, we think like, oh, I don't want to use a bad word. Devotees use, or people use bad word when something happens. Oh, this does, And this is not, what kind of death is this? We had a once accident we were tumbling on the highway 3-4 times, doom, 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 doom. And devotees, that was so funny. I mean, somehow Krishna, I was laughing at that moment. How one devotee was screaming, Nrsimhadev, 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 Nrsimhadev. And one Mataji was, ah! There was no, I don't know, was this, what kind of, scream was that? But they was scream, ah! And one devotee was, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna. Another devotee also said, Hare Krishna. So we have like 3-1, 3 devotees were chanting Hare Krishna, one Mataji was screaming, ah, Sorry? Maybe it was a long Hare, we don't know. It's her bhava, Hare Krishna. She wanted to last to be Hare maybe rather, we don't know. But the point, at this very moment we were tumbling, I was actually laughing. Because I heard this, I was thinking, man, look at this, so funny. This was so funny. Krishna arranged this like this. So we should always think of Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki Jaya, Krishna meditation ki Jaya, Shri Krishna ki Jaya, Gaura Premanande Hari Hari Bol.